Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm David Steele, and here's my truck from a distance. Right now, it looks a little slammed. Yeah, we've lowered the suspension. We're going to attempt to get under this trailer from this angle, which, I mean, how hard's it going to be, right? Yeah, okay. Hope everyone's doing well. We're taking my teal-coloured Volvo VNL 300. This is the later Volvo, not the earlier VNL. That's now the VNL 2014, I think it's known as. This is a brand new, well, newish Volvo, or Ovlov, as it says in the mirror. Let's go ahead and get under the trailer. Yep, there we go.
Now go.
Let's got that connected up. Okay, we're going to have to take a rest, unfortunately. We're going to get there tonight. Well, that's okay. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll get moving. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the cabin and see if we can get this thing going. Oh. Let's go ahead and put it in gear and reconnect the trailer because I pushed the wrong button. Right, I think we're good to go. So I have not used this Volvo that much, and it's a bit of a shame really, because the Volvo is one of those trucks where I want to say it's forgettable. I don't think it does anything wrong, and it's a little devoid of character because of that, but it's also very likeable. Well, at least I like it anyway. Under the hood today we have a D11. Now this is not quite the right specification, D11 for this particular truck. This is a 2014 D11, and I'm supposing, incorrectly I imagine, that the modern VNL, I believe they can, Volvo still sell the D11, but it's not as popular as the D13. I didn't really feel like putting a D13 turbo compound under this this little truck. I could have done, I suppose. Anyway, the reason why we're using it is it's fairly low powered. It's 355 horsepower. I'm actually going to go use the right lane up here. We're going to do a night stop and make this a bit of an overnight trip, I think. Anyway, I didn't want something that was quite so torquey as the D13 TC turbo compound. Those engines, they are fabulous, but I don't want to say they make it too easy, but they kind of make it too easy. We're using an iShift today. It's a direct drive, 12-speed, with a 279 final drive. So it means we're doing close to 1300 revs at 55. It's something like 1275 or 1285, 1280. And with a fairly low-powered engine like this, I mean, it's 1250 foot-pounds of torque, it helps to have that little shorter gearing. There are 12 gears, and I will say this about the iShift. Those gear ratios are, now I don't want to say perfect, but they're very well suited to pretty much any duty that you want to throw at it. I found that to be very, very easy to drive it in manual mode if that's what you want to do, and it helps that the Volvo engines are also pretty flexible. Right, so we'll take a rest break up here. Where is it?
Make a U-turn now.
I suspect, yeah, I'm the wrong side. I'm about to run it into the barrier here. Okay. Yeah. Good grief, I can't even do that properly. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, my bad, my bad. Let's go ahead and use my hazard warning lights, I think. Cute little truck, though. And supremely maneuverable, as we're demonstrating. Shut up! Honk your horn at me, you doofus. Right. It's not my fault, I'm on the wrong side of the road, everyone.
Keep right. And then
Getting a bit of lag from the game, and in fact, I kind of think I should just go to the bottom of the street and use the rest area at it's a dealership. Is it Kenworth? No, is it Kenworth? Yeah, I think it's Kenworth. I suppose I could do that, couldn't I? As opposed to doing a U-turn, or I could just drive around here anyway, with through a red light. That'll be fine. We'll see. But yeah, the reason why I wanted to take the D11 out today is I wanted to drive the Volvo, and I didn't really want it to be particularly powerful. I wanted to see or feel that engine working and the transmission working. But I also wanted to use fairly stock Volvo components. Tempted to try a 9-speed. I mean, it works fine in the Volvo. There's no issue there. But I wanted to keep it in the house, I suppose you might say. Of course, I didn't really count on having to faff around like this. So we'll wait for it to catch up. For the game to give me a green light. You know, I kind of just want to go left here. I'm supposed to. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Let's just whistle nonchalantly as we go up the wrong way. I'm sorry, officer. I got confused by the sign. Let's use my 4 ways. Right, there we go. That made him stop. See? Perfectly legal. Well, it's perfectly legal. Cargo today is only £8,000, but that trailer is not the lightest trailer on the planet, let's just say. And so the cargo is a reasonable weight, but it's completely fine for a 4x2. I'm going to assume it's completely fine. Okay. Let's be really lazy and dump it in forwards. Can we? Yep, we could stop. Let's go ahead and turn the lights off. Parking brake on. Put it in neutral. Shut it down. And take a night stop. Okay, 1:30 in the morning. Right. And I'm going to hand wave and suppose that we've let it warm up for a period of time. Go ahead and turn the thing around. Okay, come on. That's good enough. Wow, this thing is very maneuverable. Okay, punch it back into drive and we're off. A bit of messing around. It's been a time since I've done a night drive on the Volvo. And I have very fond memories of doing a night drive with John C. Pepper in a V&L. We drove from Texas across to California one evening. It was a time ago now. It was a late night in the real world, late night in the game. Well, it was over a period of time. Ooh, lucky escape there from the rolling road. I think we can go ahead and move off. These cars aren't moving anywhere. Merge to the left lane. Don't have many options on today's today's Volvo. We do have the rear side deflectors, just the standards there. We've got the short side sills, so we've got exposed fuel tanks. We do have painted standard wheels. We don't have steels on this today, and we've got the single vertical stack, which I would say it seems to be a bit of a Texas specification. You don't often see trucks without a vertical stack in Texas, and I don't know if it's just a Texas thing or if it's all over the country. You know, I've travelled a little bit around the country, and I gotta say, it doesn't seem to bear much relation, because when I go to Florida, if I head east, I see a lot of trucks that are not from Texas or Florida, and most of the fleet trucks don't seem to have the vertical stacks if they're not on Texas plates. Anyway, we're squeezing this a little harder. It's using more revs, but it's not changing up, so when we flatten off, I'll lift off, and there we go. We went up a couple of gears. Beautiful. I don't know who programmed these shift points, but they obviously spent a lot of time working on them. Right, let's get up to 60. It's today's current cruising speed, and a little rough around that corner. This thing is very sensitive. the steering input. So just under 6 hours travel time today. And we're not going to see that much of the countryside, but we should be going over some reasonable gradients, and that's actually quite good news. Cruise down to 40. Okay. Get it back up to 50. Nice dash arrangement in the Volvos. I've always liked the Volvo dashes, both in Euro Truck Simulator and American Truck Simulator. Very functional. Like I say, not necessarily exciting, but I don't think they really need to be. Go ahead and merge left. This thing is supremely sensitive to controls. Yeah, so dashboard's pretty nifty. You can push I unless you've remapped the key. So whatever it's showing right now, I can push I and it switches between the different display modes. Let's go ahead and merge left. Over speeding. Engine brake there. Okay. Next is it looks like oil temperature and air pressure. Okay. Left. We've got our summary information here, it looks like. Yeah, it shows how long is left in the shift, how long is left in the trip, which is nice. The average miles per gallon, the distance we've covered, the range, and the gallons. Yeah, that's actually quite a nice display there. Ooh, road closure. Yeah, that's a shame. That's very disappointing. I'm going to have to find a diversion now. Okay. I'd love to go left here, but I don't think it will let me, so we'll have to, I guess. Oh, it's added 10 minutes to the trip. That's not so bad. So we can tell that because we look at the dash at the row of 6 numbers. The bottom row on the left-hand side shows the time left in the trip. It's now 5:46, so maybe added 15 minutes there. We did slow down, so perhaps that's why. Okay, is it worth getting up to speed? I think it probably is. Okay. Resume on cruise control, right. What's next? Suspension load. I think that's what that is. And I don't know quite how relevant or useful that is right now. But, okay. And no messages. Does that mean no one's texted me, or does that mean there's nothing wrong with the truck?
Exit right.
Okay. Switch back to that summary page. I think that was kind of useful.
Keep left, and then turn left.
This one.
Turn left.
Okay. Well, I sincerely hope that everyone is doing well. I wish I could say I had a topic I wanted to talk about today, but I don't really. Other than I am beginning to get excited about the 2 DLC add-ons that SCS have announced that they're working on. And that is coaches for ETS2, for Euro Truck Simulator 2, and the road trip for American Truck Simulator. And I'm excited for a couple of reasons. I mean, the first reason is more content. And I love the fact that they're leveraging the existing map they've got in the game, but they're adding something that, well, other modders already have added. And they are, I know that they're working on changing the physics for road trip. And that's amazing news because we can already get access to cars, but they don't drive like cars, they drive like trucks. Well, with the physics change, I'm super excited that it means that we're going to have more car-like cars. That's going to open up a whole range of vehicles for the game. So, you know, if I really wanted to find a 1985 Ford Escort LX, then maybe I can. It's that kind of, well, now I can get my car, which by the way isn't a Ford Escort, but you see my point into the game. Not only that, but it also means, well, I mean, I like to write torque curves and shift points. So I'm curious to see what changes they make under the skin. to things like clutch engagement torque and massive vehicles and how that all drops into place. Because, well, we know in the Ford pack there's a 1967 Ford Mustang. That car had 5 engines available. It had a V6 and 4 V8s. Of those V8s, 3 of which were a 4.7, I believe. Of 200 to I think,
Turn right.
forget the power, 200, 225, and maybe 271 rings a bell. And they also had the 6.4 litre, which had more power, 320, I think. Well, I mean, I'm going to assume that SCS are going to make maybe some of those engines available, maybe not all. Well, if they leave any gaps, I can add those. Or I can look at the torque curves and all the shift points and maybe implement my own version of them. There's a lot that I could do here. Or let us suppose you wanted to commit sacrilege and install a modern Ford Mustang engine into a classic Mustang shape. So you're going to want the 2.3 EcoBoost, or the 5 litre V8, or the supercharged 5 litre. So there's all that potential, and that's just one truck, one car even. There's the F-150. There's the it's a Crown Victoria, almost a Grand Victoria. There's the Crown Victoria. Love that vehicle. I would have happily bought one if I could have found one that didn't look like it had been a gangster vehicle. And the other one is a Ford Bronco, which I have to say is not really my cup of tea. But on the other hand, I mean, who doesn't want a Ford Bronco with the Cummins 6.0 litre 24 valve or even the 12 valve? Now we're going to be able to, and that's exciting. One of the cool things about the Steel Productions engine pack, for me, as the guy that sits there and goes, what do I do now? It means I can ask, what if? So take this Volvo, for instance. What if I put the D17M motor in this truck? Would it wheelie? Well, it probably wouldn't wheelie. Would it be dangerous? Yes. Would it be fun? Yes. Would I do it? Oh yes. And so it's going to open a whole new possibility with the road trip, and also coaches, because of course in some ways coaches is going to be a little easier, because a lot of coach engines are essentially the same as truck engines. They might have a different spec, no, they might be tuned a little differently, but that's not going to be difficult to do, to get set up. But I don't think I'm going to need to do too much with things like the clutch engagement torque numbers there. And then there's the chance to not only share my driving with YouTube when I feel like it, but with all my passengers. And how cool is that going to be? Yeah, I know. I know. Also, I was completely wrong about the time left in the journey. That's actually the current time. So right now it is 7:13 in the morning. We don't have 7 hours left to go on the trip. Oopsie, my bad. Go ahead and well, I'm all over the place here with my steering input. Okay. So yeah, I'm quite excited by both road trip and coaches, and for different reasons. I think coaches, I've looked at the coach simulators, and see, here's the thing, and it's the same with Space Trucker. I like the concept of it, but what I really want to do is drive around and deliver things, or just drive around. And when I damage the truck, which does happen from time to time, I don't want to stop and have to jump out the cabin and go to the back and click a button to take off the diesel tank filler. That's cool the first few times you do it, but then it becomes very repetitive. I jump out, I negotiate my way to the back, I pull off. Yeah, game, can you assume that I know what I'm doing and that I'll always do it correctly? Can you assume that I don't put diesel in a gas tank and vice versa? So having the ability to not do that, I rate that. And that was where I thought Space Trucker kind of fell down a little bit. And in some regards, Alaskan Truck Simulator, I mean, I like the idea of driving in Alaska, but I don't like the idea of all the micromanagement stuff that goes into it. Yeah, that makes me a casual sim player. I'm pretty sure about that. I don't want to go through the whole rigmarole and micromanagement of this. I've not gotten into DCS because I want to just jump in an airplane and shoot something. I don't necessarily want to configure all the buttons and switches for a carrier launch in the F-14, although how utterly cool is that? You gotta go to flight school. So I'm excited by coaches in ETS2 because the coach simulators I've looked at have tended to be either just a bit too much on the micromanagement side of things, or I don't know, for some reason they just didn't really seem like they had that much content. But supposing it's I don't know, a $12 extra for the game, and I don't know what it would cost, we've no idea right now. Is it good value? See, it's not a whole new game. Well, it is kind of a whole new game to what you've already got, but then you get 2 games for $30, assuming you pay full price. Kind of 2 games. I'm gonna go ahead and merge behind this red Mustang. He's slowing down. Really? Bloody Mustang drivers. That does lead me to something else. So I was watching a video the other day, and if I can remember the link, or remember the author, the creator, I'll link to it. It was a great video, but one of the comments, one of the observations he was making was that, is ATS and ETS too expensive? And he totted up how much the maps cost for each game, and how much money you could spend on the game. And don't get me wrong, they're a lot of money. I mean, if the average cost of a map upgrade, maybe it's $15, and of course there are lots of maps. And so you can pay $20 for the game if you pay full price. You can pay $5 for a few times a year, and my goodness me, it's so worth $5. In fact, I'm going to argue it's worth $20, but we'll come on to that in a second. And then you buy the maps, and you can spend a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money on buying maps for the game. In terms of the gameplay, you can argue that it's repetitive. I mean, you drive around and you deliver stuff, right? I mean, that's it. But no 2 trips are the same. And depending on how much you like the driving simulation, the traffic adds a lot of variability to it. The weather a little bit as well. Traffic adds a lot to it. The odd diversion, such as the one that we had a few minutes ago. And then you add on all the extra maps. We've got about a third of the US right now. Is it about a third? No, it's not really a third. Maybe it's a third in terms of coverage, but not in terms of states. So you can drive across a good chunk of America. The longest trip is way over 2,000 miles now. That's a lot of time. And I'm sitting at coming on 8,000 hours into, oh gosh, 8,000 hours into American Truck Simulator, and about 800 and something I think in Euro Truck Simulator 2. That's a lot of time. And if you're going to cost that out in terms of hours of enjoyment in the game, and let's suppose I've only truly enjoyed 7,000 hours. I don't think it's 7,000, I think it's more than that. Let's suppose I've only enjoyed 7,000 hours, and let's suppose that with all the maps and DLCs and stuff, I don't know, let's pick a number out of thin air. Let's suppose I've paid $250. I'm just supposing, I don't know what the actual number is, I'm sure Steam could tell me. So $250 divided by 7,000 is something like 3.5 cents per hour. Did I do that right? Has each hour of entertainment cost me just 3.5 cents? Or is it 35 cents? Did I carry the 0? No, I think it's about 3.5 cents. There are very few hobbies, and it's just a straightforward cost here, don't get me wrong. There are very few hobbies, I think, that can give you the kind of longevity and value that a well-loved computer game can do. Now, that said, you can argue that listening to a CD, listening to music can be the same. You buy a CD for, let's say, $10, and you listen to it 1,000 times. That's 1,000 hours. Buy $10 for 1,000 hours. Yep, not bad. And you can do something else while doing it, just as you can with ATS. But 3.5 cents per hour, I think, is pretty good value. Now, let us suppose I've spent $4,000 on my computer. I mean, and just I don't think I have. That's a lot of money. But I'm just pulling a number out of thin air, and of course, some of the storage, and no, it's nowhere near $4,000. But even supposing it was, you're still looking at what, 60 cents per hour, maybe 1,200. Yeah, it's about 60 cents per hour that you've enjoyed. Okay, and then you got to throw in the cost of electric, and you know we can go extremely granular here. We can look at how much electric it uses and how it's an inexpensive hobby, but there is a barrier to entry, and you do need a bit of cash up front to buy a game. But here is where I think SCS have done something pretty clever, and this might be a hot take on it. What SCS have done, or what they haven't done, but they're getting round to it, is optimize the game for high-end gaming systems. Now, the little caveat being, you kind of need a chunky processor to get the most from the game. I have a 10th generation i7, and you know, my frame rate is limited by my processor most of the time. But beyond that, I have a graphics card that spends most of its time waiting. Right now, the usage of the graphics card is 66%, and I have quite a confusing dashboard, but let's see if that works if I pop that up on the screen. So I'm getting 61 frames per second, and I've locked my frame rate to about 60, I think it's 61. I'm utilizing 67, give or take, 2/3 of my graphics card. And I'm using 17% of my CPU. So I'm really not working the machine all that hard. I don't need an RTX 3080 Ti. With an ultra-wide resolution, yes, having a bit extra power in graphics department is useful. But I'm pretty certain that this game would run nearly as well on my old GTX 1080 Ti, which I bought used, or my RTX 2070 Super, which I also used, and I also have a GTX 1080, might be a 1080 Super, I can't forget now, it was a while ago, and I bought that B grade stock from EVGA. The last new graphics card I bought was a GTX 1060, which by the way ran this game fantastic on a slightly different monitor. So it doesn't need high-end hardware to run well enough. And I think where SCS have shown, whether it's intentional or otherwise, but a bit of craftiness and genius, is you can enjoy this game with quite moderate specs on the machine. Now, some of that is you don't need a super high frame rate to get the most from the trucking games. Yes, I mean you do get a bit more latency, well, roughly twice as much at 30 frames per second as you do at 60. But this is not a game where you need to rely on quick reactions. You really don't. And although I get why people want a high refresh rate, I don't need it for this game. I could lock my frame rate at 30 and I get used to it pretty quickly. 60 feels great, 90 feels fantastic, but 30 is okay. And I get used to it. Like I say, for this kind of game, it's completely fine. So targeting 30 frames a second at, let's say, 1080p resolution, you don't need particularly powerful hardware. And that's a good thing. It keeps the game accessible. It does cause a lot of frustration from people that throw a lot of hardware at the game and don't get particularly good results. So going back to the core of what I'm trying to say, you could spend a lot of money on the SCS products. I gotta throw something else into the ring. If you think the maps are expensive, you want to look at some of the third-party trucks. Now, I get it. The modders who create some of the third-party trucks pour a lot of time and energy and effort into creating their mod trucks. And some of those mod trucks are truly a work of art. They are fantastic. But they typically start about $20 to $25. That's more than the base game. Now sure, you get a lot of enjoyment from it. And then you can go down the road of well, you look at some of the paid-for mods, the premium mods. You look at the sound packs, and I'm going to bring up Z mods. I produced some torque curves for Z, and I really enjoy some of his sounds. I enjoy all of his sounds I've played around with. You can quickly spend quite a bit of money on Z mods. Once you start buying one sound, it's like, well, I mean, this sounds good. I think I want this engine, and I think I want this engine too. And well, I mean, those outside, yeah. Before you know it, another $100 gone on sound mods, and $300 on, let's say, a dozen mod trucks. Do you need a dozen mod trucks? But the base game has 12 trucks. I mean, you might want a few. There are premium trailer packs, and so it's easy to spend quite a lot of money on just the software and on people's creations. Now, I'm in two minds about buying mod trucks. I have a number I bought, and some of them I really, really enjoy. Some of them they're great mod trucks, but some of them I don't feel that they've been worth. Okay, break. I don't feel that they were necessarily worth it for me as much as I paid for them, because I don't use them that much. I bought too many. But that's not to discredit the amount of time and effort that went into creating them. And when I use them, I do appreciate, how good they look and how everything hangs together and so on and so forth. But it's very easy to spend hundreds of dollars on the game. Is it such good value? Let's say you've spent $600 on the complete game, you paid full price, you bought a few mod trucks here or there, you bought some extra maps, you bought some extra trailers, you bought some sound packs. On your computer, you bought a steering wheel and pedal set, and you don't play any other games, and it's still cheaper than likely going to a football game once a month for a year. I don't know. Is it good value? I think it is. I think for the amount of time that I've just thoroughly enjoyed unwinding while driving a virtual truck, burning virtual diesel across a virtual landscape, especially during lockdown, delivering another cargo, and I'm about to drop something off now. See if we can do a difficult parking here because I've got time. Oh boy, that's fine. I can do that. No problem. I think I might have bit of one I can chew comfortably, and where else can I practice the skill of maneuvering a big object into a tight space? Okay, I gotta go in from the front. That's fair enough. Anyway, here's my point. I do think that the SCS games, for their target market, are worth it. I think the enjoyment that I've gotten from the game has been worth it. And would I do it again? And I'm discounting the value of the friendship and the community that's around the game. And yeah, you always have falling outs, and I don't know what a mess I'm making of this already. I especially like it when people tell me I made a terrible mess of my parking in the comments and I should try harder. That was a bit facetious. Okay, give myself a bit more space then, shall we? Try that again, shall we? Okay. So yeah, I think the point I'm making is that, yeah, I think that it's difficult to measure value in just financial terms. It's difficult to be... What's the word I'm thinking of? there's a certain sense of attachment when you spend a lot of money on something that you feel you have to like it because you spent a lot of money on it. And I've not always had money to spend on games. In fact, it's been large chunks of my life when I've not been able to buy the hardware. But knowing that I got into ATS with quite limited hardware, 3rd gen i7 GTX 1060, ran the game as well as it needed to. Upgraded the hardware, thoroughly enjoyed the game. Did I benefit much from the performance? Maybe. So, in summary, thanks SCS. I really appreciate what you're doing with the game. I like the balance and blend. You've upped your game. 2025, we've got a lot more maps on the way. I think we're working on 3 right now, which is good. Can they deliver? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they do. Am I going to criticize the game? Yeah, of course I am. I'm going to criticize the game. But am I still going to play it? Oh yes. Right. Let's see how well we did then. To be gassing away. Let's check out what we did. So 346 miles and 41.5 gallons. That's not bad going at all. That is over 8 miles per gallon. 48. Yeah, it's a bit more than 8. 8.25, 8.2, 8.3, I think. 8.3. Well, look at that. And that's the payback for hobbling around in a D11. Thanks so much, everyone. Hope you got something from this. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time. Take care. Goodbye.